Hello everyone, my name is Elijah David, minister in the 12th Hour Apostolic Sabbatarian Congregation, Mount Zion, 12th Hour in Liberty Hill, Texas. Today is June 9, 2013, or it is the 4th month, number 1, new moon. And we're going to start our second service on this new moon Sabbath with a song that I have written entitled, There's a Land of Endless Sky. There's a land of endless sky, where someday my soul shall ride, and forever be at rest from all care. I will know my heart's desire, kindle from this little fire that's been burning in my heart for all of these years. The Republic of Texas is a land of endless sky, where the soul of man never dies. It's the land of plenty, it's the land of milk and honey, it's the land where the kingdom shall arise. There's a land of endless sky, where someday my soul shall ride, and forever be at rest from all care. I will know my heart's desire, kindle from this little fire that's been burning in my heart for all of these years. The Republic of Texas is a land of horse and plow, where men can't be bought or sold, where men earn the living by the sweat of their brow, and they're paid in silver and gold. There's a land of endless sky, where someday my soul shall ride, and forever be at rest from all care. I will know my heart's desire, kindle from this little fire that's been burning in my heart for all of these years. Hello everyone, once again this is Elijah David. We're going to continue on now, talking about the Republic of Texas. There's a lot to be read and said about it. We're just going to give you highlights of how the kingdom fits in with the righteous nation and the Republic of Texas. Now, again, in Deuteronomy 4, it says, verse 6, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is it so great who hath Elohim so nigh unto them as Yahweh or Elohim is in all things that we call upon him for? Now, we are representatives of the birth of this righteous nation. And it says in verse 8 of Deuteronomy 4, it says, and what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Yahweh, thy Elohim in Horeb. And the Yahweh said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And you came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with the fire, into the midst of the heaven, with the darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. And the Yahweh spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude. Only you heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments, and he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. Now I want to ask you a question. What language was Yahweh speaking to the Israelites? They only knew one language, and possibly 2. They come out of Egyptian bondage, and the original language was a Paleo-Hebrew, and naturally, being down in Egypt all them many years, they probably learned the Egyptian language. But I dare say Yahweh spoke to them and spoke to Moses in the Paleo-Hebrew, the language that they were familiar with. Okay? And the Yahweh commanded me at that time, verse 14, to teach you statutes and judgments that ye might do them in the land, whether you go to possess it. Now, he has sent us today into the land of Texas to possess it. And so he says we're to keep statutes and judgments. Well, we're proving that. We have a creation calendar. We have been practicing the keeping of the feast days and performing the sanctuary service now for 43 years. At least there's 2 of us here. And so he has led us from one place to another. He's led me about the last 43 years. He's led me from mid-cities in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, clear back to West Texas, where I spent 20 years. Then he led me back out of there to the Austin, Texas area. So these are the parts that he wanted me to live in, and dealing with the congregation of Israel. And so he brought me into this land of Texas by divine providence, and he led 3 of us here, 2003, and to possess it. Well, we learned our statutes and judgments down there in Kermit. During our sojourn for 11th hour Adventists, we learned the sanctuary service. We had the creation calendar that we publish every year. And so, when it was time to leave, he appointed me as the leader of the new movement. And what did we have to go with it? We had the creation calendar, number 1, that we could publish every year correctly, keep us on true time. And he says now, and the Yahweh commanded Moses at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might do them in the land, whether you go over to possess it. Okay. So now Yahweh has raised up Israel here in the United States. He's raised up Israel. And the headquarters now for the leadership of Judah is here in Texas. So he raised up this land, this great republic of the Unity States of the America. And then he raised up another republic right here in the center of the United States, of the Unity States. And so for many, many years, the leaders of this country referred to this country as the Great Republic. But really, the only thing that made the Great Republic was the fact that Texas was here. Because the rest of the states around Texas are identified as corporate states. They're just business corporations. Okay? So it says in Deuteronomy 4:15, Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahweh spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Yahweh thy Elohim hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. Now, and it's amazing that we have Job also had that experience that he wrote about, and it's in Job 31, verse 26 and 27. Let's turn to that and read it. Job 31, 26 and 27. It says, if I behold the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in the brightness, and my heart hath been secretly enticed, or my mouth hath kissed my pan, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judge, for I should have denied the Elohim that is above. So why did Yahweh instruct the Israelites to not worship anything that had a similitude of any kind? Job was following Yahweh's the laws of Moses in his day, before the laws of Moses were created. Okay, so in other words, he's following the laws of heaven from the creation. So Job very well knew the plan of salvation. Yahweh taught it to him firsthand. Okay, as well as he taught it to anyone that wanted it. So he said, again in Deuteronomy 4:19, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Yahweh thy Elohim hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. Okay, so Job identified that as, boy, he said, if I do that, he said, I'm going to be punished by the judge, for I should have denied the Elohim that is above. If I start worshiping those sun, the moon, and the stars, then I'll deny him, the one that created them. Okay. Deuteronomy 4, verse 20. But the Yahweh hath taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as ye are this day. Now, folks, we're repeating this today. Isaiah 11 says there's going to be a highway again in these last days, and there's going to be a second Exodus, like as it was to Israel when they came out of Egypt the first time. So now, folks, this is where we're at. And so where is this prophecy being fulfilled? Here in Texas. So all of this stuff is going to be fulfilled here in Texas. Texas is our inheritance for the people that were born and raised in the Western Hemisphere. This is where the 144,000 were born, right here in the Western Hemisphere. They weren't born in Israel. They weren't born in the Middle East anywhere. The 144,000 has their birthplace right here in the New World, the United States proper. Furthermore, the Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, and sware that I should not go over the Jordan, and that I should not go in unto that good land, which the Yahweh the Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance. Okay. But I must die in this land. I must not go over Jordan, but ye shall go over and possess that good land. Okay. Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Yahweh your Elohim, which he made with you, and make you a graven image or the likeness of anything which the Yahweh thy Elohim hath forbidden me. For the Yahweh thy Elohim is a consuming fire, even a jealous Elohim. And thou shalt beget children and children's children, and ye shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of the Yahweh thy Elohim, to provoke him to anger. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And the Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whether the Yahweh shall lead you, and there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor smell, nor eat. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Yahweh thy Elohim, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. How many people in the world, anywhere, are seeking Yahweh with all their heart and soul? As we are leading out here at Gilead's, at Mount Zion, 12th hour in Liberty Hill, Texas. We're the front runners on this in the world, I believe. And thou art in the tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days. Now here we are, even in the latter days. Now isn't that amazing? He's called out the people here in Texas, and they're going through all these trials and tribulations, and he's preparing them and restoring them. It has been, this has been ongoing for 43 years. And yet we say, well, these prophecies are going to be fulfilled in the land of Israel. And all the time, we've been called and trained and taught how to understand all these prophecies as they start dovetailing together into one place, especially in Daniel and Revelation, start coming together. You're going to have somebody to put Daniel and Revelation together in every aspect. So it says, and if thou turn to the Yahweh, it says, even in the latter days. Not only back there in Moses' day, but also in the latter days here on earth. And what does Job say in Job 19:25? I know that my Redeemer liveth, for in the latter day he shall stand upon the earth. For the Yahweh the Elohim is a merciful Elohim. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy youth, of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. Now, it says right here, for ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that Elohim created man upon the earth, and asked from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there hath been any such thing as this great thing is, or hath been heard like it. The world has never heard that one day there's going to be two Israels emerge on planet Earth. One of them's going to be called Old Jerusalem, and the other is going to be called New Jerusalem. And then they're going to discover prophecies that will back this up. Okay? Did every people hear the voice of Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou hast heard and lived? Or hath Elohim essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation? Now pay attention to that, folks. Texas is, as far as I know, is the only nation on earth that is planted right in the midst of another nation. And as I told you before, it's unconstitutional in our Constitution for one nation to annex another nation. Okay? Now, why is that? Only can you overtake another nation by warfare. Okay. Now, Texas won its independence from Mexico in 1836 by warfare. And so they rightfully have earned their right to be sovereign and to establish this independent, righteous nation. But here comes the United States, because Mexico is threatening Texas with war again to get back her territory of Texas, after Texas had already won her independence from Mexico by warfare. Mexico was not going to give up on that. So the United States had to intercede, and they had to declare war on Mexico. And so in 1846 to 1848, Texas, the United States is at war with Mexico to make them leave Texas alone. Why? Because the United States had ulterior motives. They wanted to own Texas. And by 1845, they had succeeded. That's why they went to war with Mexico, to defend Texas. They wasn't defending Texas' sovereign rights as an independent nation to remain free. No, they were defending their interests. Okay? So it says, or hath Elohim essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation? Yes, he has put the surveyors out, and he's already surveyed this land. And the parameters have been set by the four borders of Texas by rivers. Red River on the north, okay, Sabine River on the east, Rio Grande on the west and south, folks. Actually, the Rio Grande River is called the western boundary of Texas, but it also runs at an angle southeast, going around Texas, mapping the border of the southern part of Texas. And then you have the Gulf of Mexico on the east side of the southern part of Texas. Well, actually run up the whole east side of Texas. You have the Sabine River, inland, the border of Texas on the east. Then you have the Gulf of Mexico, which is a vast big ocean that you can get into the Gulf of Mexico and take you right on out to the Atlantic Ocean and clear to the land of Israel. Right from here, right from Texas. We can get on a boat and just sail right out of here and sail right straight to the land of Israel without ever having to go to New York City and get on a ship up there and take out on the Atlantic Ocean. No, we can take out from out in the Gulf of Mexico, which is right here on our border. Think about it. Okay? So it says, or has Yahweh essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation? Well, now, what's the type of that? He went and took the nation of Israel out of the midst of Egypt from Pharaoh. He did it one time, that's your type. Now the antitype is he's going to take Texas out of the midst of spiritual Egypt today, the United States proper. He's going to do the same thing he did then, and he's going to call Texas Israel, taking them out of the United States. Now Texas has got to go through a purification once this happens. Just like Israel had to go through a purification when they were brought out of Egypt. They had to be brought in the wilderness for 40 years and went through a purification. But folks, I'm going to tell you, it's sacred. They've already been through a 40-year purification. That's already behind us. When we had the sanctuary restored by Brother Stubby Johnson in 1970, we started learning how to be sanctified through the practice of the sanctuary service, the ordained system of true worship. We didn't become sanctified while we were at 33 years with him, but guess what? The 7 years that we have been from there to 2010, we have had time, and we are coming to sanctification right now, even as we speak. This movement is being sanctified and ready, getting ready. We're going to be sanctified and ready to go 2013. We're going to be ready to represent this great righteous nation of Texas. So it says, or hath Elohim essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by the temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according unto all that the Yahweh Elohim did for you in Egypt before your eyes? Now when I get through with this study today, I'm going to go and give you the history of Texas. I'm going to take you all the way back when the first nation ruled over Texas, threw their flag over Texas. And that goes back several hundred years, folks. And we're going to bring you step by step. And we're going to show you this righteous nation being born here in the midst of another nation. Well, actually, we need to back up a little bit here. Now, Texas has its, in our day, has its origin with Mexico to our south. And So Mexico added this to their country, Mexico. Mexico had just won their independence from Spain, and now they're an independent nation, and now they have taken in the territory of Texas. And lo and behold, a man by the name of Moses Austin, now you pick up on that, Moses came over the Red River in 1820. He came down here with his son Austin, Stephen F. Austin, to see about colonizing Texas, this wide, vast, open country. They had to go to Mexico to talk to the president about it, and the president gave his okay, and so Moses Austin started colonizing Texas right after 1820. Okay? So now, Texas was colonized and established as a colonial state, a state of Mexico. It was given another name. I think they call it Tejas, which was an Indian name. And so now Texas got their colonies going, but Mexico put so much pressure on Texas to come and, under their constitution 100%, and pay their allegiance to the Pope of Rome, like they were doing. And Texas balked at it. They wanted to be independent from all that. And so that's when they started applying for to pull Texas off from Mexico and make it an independent sovereign nation. So what happened? The ASEAN was taking Texas out of the midst of Mexico, another nation. And that literally happened. So why was Israel down in Egypt for a total of 430 years, actually 215 years in servitude, 430 years altogether, because there's right in history and time, bringing one nation out of another. Okay. Unto thee it was showed that thou mightest know that the Yahweh he is Elohim. There is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct thee, and upon earth he showed thee his great fire, and thou heardest his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved thy fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought thee out in his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt. Now I want to tell you something. In the land of Israel, they have illegal immigrants coming into their land, just like we do here. And they're coming in from everywhere, and they're mostly Palestinians, Ishmaelites, half-brothers to the Jews that are occupying Israel. We're having the same thing right here in Texas. Okay? We're having the same thing. Now, we're having illegal immigrants coming in here from the south and from all over the world. They're coming in from Muslim land. The Ishmaelites are coming in through the south, and they're coming up through these quarters down here, and by the millions. We're having the same thing happening here right now as they're having in Israel, with the same kind of people, Palestinians. Okay? Now the Palestinians said because they occupied the land after Yahweh destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD, they said, we have come in and occupied this land because the Jews have been abandoned the land. They've been driven out of it. We've come in and take over their land. This is our land. Now Israel comes back and takes away the land back from them in 1948, become a nation again. So now Israel is back to original sovereign nation status, and now they push the Arabs back out of Israel, as far as being leaders there in Israel. The Jews have taken over as leaders, and now Mexico used to be in charge of Texas. Now, the Anglo-Saxon, and these Anglo-Saxons, now led by Moses also, were descendants of Ephraim and Manasseh and Gilead. And it so happened that Gilead ended up here in Texas. Ephraim and Manasseh is in two other parts of the United States. They're in the northern part. But Gilead is in the southern part. Okay? So he says right here, to drive out nations from before thee, greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for an inheritance as it is this day. Now, what do we got to do? When Abraham went into the land of Israel for the first time in the land of Canaan, he was told to get up out of Ur of the Chaldees and get into the land that I'll show thee. Abraham obeyed. He went. He came into the land of Canaan. There were no less than 7 heathen kings that were occupying the land of Canaan. It was an open territory. Just like Texas is an open territory. Was an open territory. Okay? And then Yahweh says to Abraham, you're too small in number to go up against these here 7 kings that occupies this land. These 7 heathen. He said, you're going to have to go down into another land. You're going to have to go down to Egypt. You're going to have to sojourn there for 430 years. You're going to have to get your numbers built up by the millions. And then when you do, you'll have enough remnant to come back into this land. And when you do come back into it, your seed, they're going to drive out these 7 kings and their inhabitants from this land. They'll be strong enough and able to by that time. So it took Israel, it took Abraham's seed 430 years. They had to go into another land. And they had to multiply and build, and then Yahweh brought a deliverance from out of that land, brought them back into the land of Israel, and then they set about by driving out these heathens that had been occupying that land for centuries. Okay, so it says in Deuteronomy 4:39, know therefore this day and consider it in thine heart, that the Yahweh he is Elohim in the heaven above and upon the earth beneath, there is none else. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days upon the earth, which is Yahweh that Elohim giveth thee forever. Now keep in mind that earth in prophecy is talking about the United States first and foremost. It's in the United States. In this case, this earth is here in Texas. So he's going to give it to the seed of Israel forever. See, what we don't realize, folks, is that the prophecy shows that here in the end time, that the whole world is going to be restored before it is finally destroyed at the very, very end. But Yahweh is going to restore it back to the Garden of Eden. And you know, we think the world's going to come to an end here pretty soon. Yeah, it is for the wicked. It's fast closing in on the wicked. They'll be all gone. But you know, we may spend a lot more time here than we realize for this restoration of this Garden of Eden. We may see things in a whole new realm that we hadn't seen before. It says, then Moses severed 3 cities on this side of Jordan toward the sun rising, that the slayer might flee thither, which should kill his neighbors unaware, and hated him not in times past, and that fleeing unto one of these cities he might live. Well, I don't know if we're going to have that again, but when the warfare is over here in Texas, in the United States, between the beast and the kingdom of Elohim, there's only going to be righteous people left here. Let's go on. Namely, Bezer in the wilderness in the plain country of the Reubenites, and Ramoth in the Gilead of the Gadites, and Golan and Bashan of the Manassites. Now, Manasseh represented the feeding pasture of Bashan. The feeding pasture of Bashan today is the Adventist Church. instead of the evidence proper. Keep that in mind. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgment which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of the Egypt. On this side Jordan, in the valley over against Beth Peor, and the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at the Heshbon, whom the Moses and the children of Israel smote after they were come forth out of Egypt. And they possessed his land, and the land of Og, king of the Bashan, 2 kings of the Amorites, which were on this side Jordan toward the sun rising, from Or, which is by the bank of the river Arnon, even unto the Mount Sinai, which is in the Hermon. And all the plain on this side of the Jordan, eastward, even unto the sea of the plain under the springs of Pisgah. Okay, that enters chapter 4 of Deuteronomy. Now folks, this is your prophecy on Texas being a nation that's taken out of the midst of another nation. And the historical record shows that she was taken out of the midst of Mexico, where she has her origin. I first said she was taken out of the midst of the United States. No, she wasn't. The United States hadn't even completely formed all of its territory. Texas was a 28th state. The United States ended up with 50 states. So you had 22 more states that had been formed after Texas. And actually, the United States was called a collective, a collection of corporate states. And Washington, D.C. was called the corporate headquarters for their corporate enterprises of competing against what they call the capitalism. Capitalism belongs to the citizen, not the government. The government's not supposed to compete in commercialism with the citizens, but they do it. Anyway, all right, now, so what did we learn? We have learned that the prophecy in Deuteronomy 4 is talking about what's going on right now, and what has been going on for the last over 300 years. Okay? Now it took Israel 430 years to make the history back then, going down into another land, going into another nation, and then having to be extracted from there 430 years later. Now, no doubt I'm going to go back and do my research on the history of Texas, and it's going to probably take us back just about that length of time as well. Probably 400 to 500 years of developing, of being a nation developing and being taken out of another nation. That literally happened with us. Now, let's turn to Isaiah 28. And let's see what we have to find out there. It says, woe to the crown of the pride to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, of which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, Yahweh hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying flood, or storm, as a flood of the mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of the pride of the drunkards of Ephraim shall be trodden under the foot. And the glorious beauty which is on the head of the fat valley shall be a fading flower, and as a hasty fruit before the summer, which when he that looketh upon it seeth while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up. In that day shall the Yahweh of the host be for a crown of glory, and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people. Now the residue of his people today is right here in Texas. his people is the Seventh-day Adventist Church. That is not only headquartered here in all over the United States, but they're also headquartered all over the world. We're the residue. Tribe of Judah is the residue of the 12 tribes. And for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. Alright, what are we learning here? This residue, which is the house of David, which is the tribe of Judah, the lawgiver, is now in action. But they also have erred through wine and through strong drink, are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of the wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of the vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. What table? There in Isaiah 60 something, it says Yahweh has prepared a troop for that people. Okay? So they have tables. Today, the tables are full of vomit and filthiness. Okay. All the false prophets in Israel that tell lies and prophesy falsely, their tables are full of vomit and filthiness. So there's no place clean in Israel. Okay? Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Now this is talking about those two descendant servants in Matthew 24. One is a wise, and the other is foolish. He's asked the question, who can understand doctrine? Well, Elijah David is understanding the doctrine that the Adventist Church have been trying to understand for 170 years, including the Davidian. Them that are weaned from the milk, 3 angels' messages, and drawn from the breast. As you say in 2 Peter 1:19, you have also a more sure word of prophecy, that you do well, that you take heed, as unto light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, which is Yahshua, and the day star, which is Yahshua, arise in your heart. So, what weans you from the breast? Strong meat. Prophecy. Doctrine explained in its fullness. Works for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with the stammering lips and another tongue will he speak unto this people. To whom he said, this is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is a refreshing, yet they would not hear. But the word of Yahweh was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward, and be broken and snared and taken. All right. From 1844, the spiritual house of Israel started with the Adventists, and with the little Adventist, Ellen G. White. Now, Ellen G. White gave line upon line, precept upon precept. And that's what caused the Adventists to be judged by her testimony and the testament she left on record. And they were judged by all those things that she had written from the scriptures. Okay? So now, in 1930, V.T. Hodder comes along, he does the same thing. And the Davidian world is judged by everything that V.T. Hodder put down in print. Inspiration, spirit of prophecy, is concentrated manna, is concentrated food. It's strong meat, in other words. But that's where V.T. Hodder did. He went and got a little here and a little there and a little he did line upon line, precept upon precept. And then when Brother Johnson succeeded him in 1970, he did the same thing. In order to restore the sanctuary, he had to do line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. He had to follow the same blueprint. Okay? But what happens when you get away from that principle of following that blueprint? Then you fall into disarray. Okay? And so now, the house of David, we're having to now get back to line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. And why? Because now we've got to bring in world events to tie in with the fulfillment of prophecy, like I'm just doing today about this righteous nation of Texas. Folks, we're just beginning. This is just the beginning. Once we establish a nation as being this nation taken from another nation, just like Israel was taken out of Egypt first time. Okay. So it says in Isaiah 28:11, "For with the stammering lips and another tongue will he speak unto this people, unto whom he said, This is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is a refreshing, yet they would not hear." So what was the refreshing? What was it to cause the weary to rest? By understanding present truth. With doctrine, with line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little, by their spiritual leaders. This would cause them to rest. Without this knowledge, you don't have no spiritual rest. You don't have any real quality rest at all. But the word of Yahweh was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, and that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. Who is this? That you might judge those leaders that would not follow line upon line, precept upon precept. This is what judged the leaders and had them replaced by those that were of the younger in their midst. Wherefore, hear the word of Yahweh, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because you have said, We have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, he shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and understood falsehood have we hid ourselves. Okay. Wherefore thus saith Yahweh, verse 16, Elohim, Behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Now, what is this talking about? Isaiah is a latter-day prophecy for this 12th hour, believe it or not. It's only good for now. And so now he's talking about this Mount Zion at the 12th hour. Now he laid this foundation, this cornerstone with Solomon in the time. When Solomon built the temple and built the city of Jerusalem and dedicated it. In fulfillment of Yahweh's promise he made to David his father before him. And all this was done with Solomon. But you know what? It has not been done since. Except now. It's fixing to meet its fulfillment right now. And I'll read to you again, Isaiah 28:16. Therefore thus saith Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. This is taking place right here in Mount Zion, the 12th hour. This is the only place in prophecy that it can possibly be designated for the fulfillment of what I just read to you. Mount Zion at the 12th hour in the Living Hill, Texas. It's where this prophecy is unfolded to start meeting its fulfillment. Remember, when you say fulfillment, you're talking about the time has come for this to be put into operation and to be understood. Judgment also will I lay unto the line, and righteousness unto the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then you shall be trodden down by it. From the time that it goeth forth it shall take you, for morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night. It shall be a vexation only to understand the report. Okay? For the bed is shorter than a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering is narrow, and then that he can wrap himself in it. For the Yahweh shall rise up as in the Mount Perazim, he shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Now therefore be ye not mockers. Okay, it says, lest your band be made strong. For I have heard from the Yahweh Elohim of the host a consumption even determined upon the whole earth. Give ye ear and hear my voice, hearken and hear my speech. That the plowman plow all day to sow, that he open and break the clods of his ground. When he hath made plain the face thereof, doth he not cast abroad the fishes and scatter the cumin and cast in the principal wheat, and the appointed barley and the rye in their place? For as Elohim doth instruct him to discretion, and doth teach him. For the fishes are not threshed with a threshing instrument, neither is a cartwheel turned about upon the cumin, but the fishes are beaten out with a staff, and the cumin with a rod. Red corn is bruised, because he will not ever be threshing it, nor break it with the wheel of his cart, nor bruise it with his horsemen. This also cometh forth from the Yahweh of the host, which is wonderful in the counsel and excellent in the working. Now we're going to start bringing this study to a close pretty soon. In Isaiah 26, it says, in that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will Elohim appoint for walls and bulwarks. So this strong city is going to be teaching the plan of salvation through the blood of the everlasting covenant, and a sanctuary restored unto the house of David, called the tribe of Judah the lawgiver. Okay? It says, open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. Okay. Now, this will ultimately be in the land of Israel. Those gates are going to be opened up, because there's going to be a lot of righteous nations that's going to come from all over the world. And they're going to be able to enter in through those gates. Okay? So, but it says this righteous nation, believe it or not, now, I'm going to tell you something else. This righteous nation has its birth right here with the Republic of Texas. Before Israel and the land of Israel becomes a righteous nation, and it may become a righteous nation, a contemporary with Texas at the same time. That's a very unique possibility. So, in other words, Israel here is the same as the Israel in the Middle East. It belongs to the same outfit, in other words. So, there you have it. So now we go to Isaiah 66. And let's read a little bit again about this nation coming forth in one day. And the prophecy is shining fast on this nation right now to come forth. And that one day means a day for a year. And Ezekiel 4:6 says a day is for a year in Bible terms. So it says in Isaiah 66 verse 8, who hath heard such a thing? Who hath seen such a thing? Shall the earth, the United States in prophecy, be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith Yahweh? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith Yahweh Elohim? Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice, for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her. That she may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolation, that she may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall you suck, you shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. As one whom his mother comforts, so will I comfort you, and you shall be comforted in Jerusalem. Now, let's go to Ezekiel 20 and finish out this study. We're going to read, start at verse 31, I believe. And it says that, if I can get to it, it says, for when you offer your gifts, when you make your sons to pass through the fire, you pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be imparted by you, O house of Israel? As I live, says Yahweh, I will not be imparted by you. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all. As ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. As I live, saith Yahweh, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you, and I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people. The wilderness of the people is right here in Texas. This is where he's going to bring them. And because wilderness and prophecy is in the earth, and the earth and prophecy is the United States, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith Yahweh Elohim, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and you shall know that I am the Yahweh. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, go ye, serve you every one his idols, hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols, for in mine holy mountain, that's the mountain of the house of Yahweh, Isaiah 2 and Micah 4, which is the house of David, and Mount Zion for 12,000, this is where his holy mountain is at, and the mountain of the height of Israel, saith Yahweh Elohim, there shall all the house of Israel, all 12 tribes, all of them in the land serve me. And the 144,000 is coming forth here representing the whole house of Israel. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblation with all your holy things. I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen that are round about you. This brings us to the study this hour. Contact us at the 11th hour. Call us number 11 on all your offers. We'll close this service now with a song entitled The Lily of the Valley. I have found a friend in Yahshua. He's everything to me. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. The lily of the valley, and him alone I see. All I need to cleanse and make me fully whole. In sorrow he's my comfort, in trouble he's my stay. He tells me every care on him to roll. He's the lily of the valley, a bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. He all my grief has taken, and all my sorrows borne. In temptation he's my strong and mighty tower. I'm all for him forsaken, and all my idols torn from my heart, and now he keeps me by his power. Oh, all the world forsake me, and Satan tempts me sore. Through Yahshua I shall safely reach the goal. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. He will never, never leave me, nor yet forsake me here. I'll live by faith and do his blessed will. A wall of fire about me, and nothing now to fear. With his manna blessed face, where rivers of delight shall ever